Alright, picking up where we left off, the next slide is going to talk about the Doha Round, and this is beginning in 2001, as you can see here, and this one was not as easily accepted among more countries. The big problem was the third bullet that you see here, where it says there's a stalemate over lowering tariffs. Remember, tariffs are taxes. So lowering taxes on industrial goods. In exchange for lowering taxes, for that, the exchange for lowering the taxes was cutting United States farm subsidies as well. So this one was more contentious by far. There was a lot more debate over this one than there was from the previous one that we talked about as well. Now the next slide, knowing about the different trade agreements is important. You have a couple that are listed here. The newest one out of these is the Dominican Republic Central America Free Trade Agreement. So if you see the first one there, Central America Free Trade Agreement, and then the DR stands for Dominican Republic. This one began in 2005. It's going to reduce tariffs, which are taxes again, to the Central American countries, and that includes, it's going to include the United States, Costa Rica, Dominican Republic, El Salvador, Guatemala, Honduras, and Nicaragua. NAFTA is the North American Free Trade Agreement, and this was 1993, and this created the world's largest free trade zone. It includes Canada, United States, and Mexico. And the main impact was opening up of the Mexican markets to the United States companies. Right. And then you have the European Union, the EU, as it's often called. It began in 1993 by 12 member countries in Europe. Currently it has 27 different members. This is just where the different countries, they don't always see eye to eye. A lot of times the EU does not always, let's just say they're not always kind to multinational companies that are based in the United States, that are mainly United States. But it's a way of trying to integrate and promote trade amongst its member states. G20 just stands for the Group of 20, and this is a group that is for international economic development. It tries to promote discussion between industrial and emerging market countries on key global economic issues, usually that focus on economic stability. So these are the members of the Group of 20. Some marketing considerations. If you look at demographic makeup, demographics, you have to be aware of more than just population density. All right, more than just the total number of people that are there. You also need to know if is the population primarily urban? Is it rural? What is personal income level? What is family or household income level like? We're looking at age. You're looking at gender. You're looking at all these different things, more than just how many people are there total in this particular area. Also, natural resources. For example, like petroleum, oil. That is, there are some oil-producing countries that Saudi Arabia, UAE, Norway even, have a lot of oil production going on there, and when there's petroleum shortages, then the demand for that resource goes up, and those countries have a lot of money coming in, a lot of wealth. Okay, different ways that you can enter global marketplaces. First thing you got to do is determine whether or not you should go global, whether or not you should consider a worldwide industry. The number one reason is always centered around money. It's always around profits and how much money can we make. So that's a big thing. A lot of times firms will develop what are called multinational partnerships, sometimes referred to as strategic alliances, in order to help them to penetrate those global markets. The strategic alliances are going to be talked about a lot more in Chapter 7, but this is a brief little introduction there to them. Getting knowledge and information firsthand in order to succeed in the international markets that you're going into. Now, if you are looking here, this slide is just a visualization going left to right, low risk to high risk, but also low return to high return. Safer and steady, kind of like the slow and steady wins the race, would be the exporting side of things. But high risk, where you could potentially lose a lot of money, but you could get greater returns as well, is the other end of the spectrum with the direct investment. Now the next slide is going to show us those 5 different levels or methods of entering the global marketplace, more defined here. This is definitely something you want to know. Top to bottom, top is less risk, less potential return. The bottom is more risk, more potential return. All right, so definitely read through these and know the differences between each of these 5, going from lower risk to higher risk. Without a doubt, make sure that you look over and know this slide. All right, this is another slide I want you to be aware of as well. Intermediaries, and see at the top where it says export intermediaries. Intermediaries are middlemen. Okay, these are people who will go between 2 different entities. So there are 3 options here: buyer for export, an export broker, and an export agent. You want to know these 3 terms, and you want to be able to differentiate what each one of these 3 does. Right? Be able to differentiate what each of these three different intermediaries do. All right, now the next part is listing the basic elements involved in developing a global marketing mix. Now remember, the marketing mix is your 4 Ps: your price, your product, your place, and promotion. The first thing you need to do is you have to understand your target market. Remember, a more defined, more specific group of people. All right, you need to make sure that you are focusing on the target market first so you can develop your marketing mix around that particular target market. Now, when we're talking about product and promotion, be aware of this too. Definitely be aware of this. There are 4 different, in essence, options or combinations with product and promotion that you can come up with here. The first one, upper left, one product, one message, is global marketing standardization right here. It's developing a single product for all your markets and promoting it the same way all around the world. Nothing changes regardless of where it is that you are promoting or selling your product. Nothing changes. Product invention is creating a new product or changing an existing product in a big way. Product adaptation, this is where products, and when we say products, just keep in mind also that this also does include packaging. So products are altered a little bit just to be able to meet any kind of local conditions or considerations in the foreign countries. And then promotion adaptation is the same basic product is maintained or considered there, but the promotional strategy, your communication, your providing incentives to buy or try the product, that is what is altered. All right, to be able to effectively position your product in whatever country it is that you're going into. All right, so make sure that you are aware of this and pay attention to this slide as well. Place or distribution. This is where shipping costs, logistics of how you're going to get a product from one place to another is a big deal. It's a big challenge because it tends to be very expensive, and how can you transport things efficiently and effectively with lower costs. Pricing. The first bullet, you have to consider all these things when pricing your product so that you don't lose money and you can still make a profit. All right, and also knowing exactly with the culture how much people have as discretionary income or spending money, and out of that spending money, how much are they willing to spend on something like your product. Now, going along with the pricing, you have to be aware of exchange rates. Okay, what is your country's currency worth in another country? Right, you have to understand those exchange rates to be able to effectively price things in the foreign country's currency as well. Dumping, well, you can see on the slide here what it is, but dumping is commonly regarded as a form of price discrimination, and there's potential anyway to harm the importing nation's industries. You don't want to hurt your own country's industries and your own country's companies because of this price dumping, this dumping strategy that often occurs. Okay, and here are the four main reasons as to why dumping can be used as a strategy by some companies. All right, I just want you to look through that on your own as well. Counter trade. The most common type of counter trade is what's called a barter. Barter is just giving up one thing for another. Another example of a counter trade is what's called a compensation agreement, where one company provides technology, equipment, resources for a plant, and then agrees to take full or partial payment in goods produced by that plant. So they're providing the equipment and the technology and the machinery, and in return they get some of the goods that are manufactured or produced by that plant. Okay, then the impact the internet has on global marketing. Once you have a website for e-commerce, then you are up and running and ready to go. People all over the world, wherever they have internet access, can gain access to your site and your company and your business and your products, and they can buy whatever they want, and then it is up to you to be able to get the product shipped out to them. This is often referred to as a borderless commerce. Okay, borderless commerce. Social media is becoming huge. It's so big all around the world, and different age groups use different social media platforms. So being aware of the differences between Facebook and Twitter, or even something like YouTube, and who uses those, who watches those, who communicates on those, can drastically affect your marketing strategy and your target market. Then lastly, we have two different links here. One is on slide 45, one is on slide 46 for you to go into. Again, the PowerPoint is available in D2L. Just make sure that you do look at that PowerPoint and click on the links via that PowerPoint. And that's the end of Chapter 5.